But one farmer says, seems to me there was a tea party in Boston that was illegal too.
I have directed Secretary Connally to suspend temporarily the convertibility of the dollar into gold.
We shall seek to establish and maintain a dollar which will not change its purchasing and debt-paying power during the succeeding generation.
As anguished shrieks rose up from the floor of the New York Stock Exchange.
Government credit and government currency are really one and the same thing. A reserve of gold and a small reserve of silver.
So, and I said, well, what if it does happen? And he says, well, price will solve everything. I said, thanks, give me the gold.
Why do central banks hold it? Well, it's a form of reserves. So why don't they hold diamonds? Well, it's tradition, long-term tradition.
Well, some people still think it's money.
Welcome everyone to the one and only Junius Maltby channel. Today it is myself and the Ann cat. Okay, she won't purr today. So I wanted to share a quick story here before we delve into the gold article. And I think it's a funny story. I don't think Junius wants me to tell it, but I will anyway. And really, once this is uploaded, he's just going to have to deal with it. So yesterday morning, I was working, and I've been prescribed an anti-nausea medication to assist me with a chronic illness that I have. Backstory. The cat went to the vet the other day, and she was also prescribed an anti-nausea medication for a temporary tummy problem that she's experiencing. Now, if you can see where this is going, but if you can't, then let me continue. So I called upon Junius to bring me this pill, and he did. And might you guess which pill I put in my mouth and subsequently had to spit out on the keyboard because I remembered, wait a minute, this is supposed to dissolve under my tongue. It's not supposed to be a solid pill form. So many paper towels later and a ruined kitty pill later, I am still here. I am still well. Turns out it didn't really do much, of course. I figured it wouldn't be dangerous to me as opposed to maybe her getting my medication. But to Junius's defense, he did this prior to having his morning coffee. So I thought that was funny. And one more quick side note before we get into the gold article. Thank you to those of you who subscribe to the backup channel. Again, that is a place where we just store some random footage and things so YouTube doesn't think that I'm a Russian bot. But that would be the place where we would start posting again while we fought to get this channel back. And honestly, that was filled with some random filler footage and some videos that I have taken this year, some quite recently, and I didn't expect the reaction that I got. So I do appreciate all that. I appreciate your comments and your input, and I will continue to upload those random filler videos. So thank you again for the positivity there. It wasn't meant to be a channel where I discuss other topics. I just don't have the time or ability to really delve into that. There's plenty of channels out there that go into conspiracy theories and maybe other things that we believe in, or politics. But for now, I'm just going to assist Junius with this channel, and my channel serves as a backup place where random footage of our lives together goes. And again, thank you all. So let's get into this article. This is regarding the price dip that we saw in gold earlier here. Let me pull that up on the screen for you. Don't we all just love the pandemic? Alrighty, title of the article, It's Too Early to Dismiss Coronavirus. Gold price setback is temporary. And that's Commerce Bank. We've got an editor's note that is irrelevant to us, so let's go on here. After shedding $100 within hours, the gold price is back in recovery mode Tuesday, and that is to be expected. And that is Tuesday, November 10th, by the way. According to Commerce Bank, which says it's too early to rule out coronavirus from the equation. It is still too early to dismiss the threat posed by corona, said Commerce Bank analyst Karsten Frisch. It will take some time yet for sufficient quantities of any vaccine to be made available and for widespread immunization to be achieved. Well, you can have that. Good luck with that. We won't partake in that in this home. Anyway, Monday's news of progress in the development of a COVID-19 vaccine has sent precious metals lower and stocks higher as investors begin to price in less stimulus in the future. In a matter of hours, the price plunged to $1,850 per troy ounce. For a time, it was down by around $100, or 5%, which constitutes its biggest daily loss in 3 months. This also saw gold shed all of the gains it had made since the end of October in one fell swoop, whereas stocks rose sharply on the back of growing risk appetite, explained Fritsch. The main explanation for this is that further stimulus measures will be necessary if an effective vaccine becomes available. Remember, Gibbs, 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 money printer Burr, send me more money, send me more checks. I know what I will spend it on. Thank you, government. This development has taken out an important driver that was pushing gold prices higher, the inevitability of more stimulus. The rise in risk appetite triggered a surge in bond yields. Yields on 10-year U.S. Treasuries soared by 15 basis points to 0.97% yesterday, putting them at their highest level since March, due to the increasing opportunity costs. This likewise weighed on gold. As a result, there was less demand for gold as a non-interest-bearing investment, said Fritsch. Looking at gold-backed exchange-traded funds, or ETFs, the sector also saw significant outflows as the world's largest gold ETF, the SPDR Gold Trust, reported an outflow of 10.5 tons on Monday, marking the most significant loss in 6 weeks. However, Commerce Bank views this sell-off as a brief setback, pointing to loose monetary policies for years to come. It is unlikely that central banks will now return to rather normal monetary policy. If anything, it looks as if further easing is on the cards. We, therefore, regard yesterday's gold price slide more as a brief setback rather than the start of a prolonged phase of weakness, said Fritsch. This is also suggested by today's price performance. Remember, this was on the 10th. The gold price is now back at $1,890. And yesterday's euphoria on the stock markets has also largely evaporated again. At the time of writing, December COMEX gold futures were trading at $1,881.10, up 1.44% on the day. That is that article there. Moving on to the next news today in gold. Now, that article I just read, it was from November 10th, and this is the same news source, and now we're going to see what they have to say today, November 12th, and I thought it was a good comparison point considering it was down this week, and now here we see gold sees good gains as risk aversion returns. Gold futures prices are solidly up in midday U.S. trading Thursday. Safe haven demand is featured late this week as the early week stock market rallies are now becoming suspect amid the spike in COVID-19 cases in the U.S. and Europe. The precious metals are also seeing some support from a weaker U.S. dollar index on this day. December gold futures were last up $19.60 at $1,881.30, and December COMEX silver was last up 0.173 cents at $24.24 an ounce. Global stock markets were mixed overnight, while U.S. stock indexes are mixed to lower at midday. The U.S. has seen over 240,000 deaths and more than 10.3 million confirmed COVID-19 infections, with new cases soaring to all-time highs of well over 120,000 per day over the past week. And please, I am just reading these numbers. We all know that we have our own individual opinions on the pandemic when it comes to numbers. Let's try to stick to gold. But this is what our world is. Our world is consumed. I mean, you can't get away from this. You cannot get away from this no matter what you do. Anyway, the marketplace is paying more attention to the worrisome news as the likelihood of increasing business and public gathering restrictions in the weeks and months ahead is rapidly growing. I'm pretty sure a lot of you in Europe are experiencing lockdowns again. And while news earlier this week of successful COVID vaccines coming online in the coming months boosted trader and investor confidence, that initial euphoria has waned as the week has progressed. Quite impressive that the vaccine is deemed successful about a week after the election disaster began. But anyway. The marketplace is also becoming increasingly concerned, although not seriously alarmed yet, about a smooth transition of power for the U.S. presidency. So they're only increasingly concerned, but not seriously alarmed. They're not seriously alarmed yet about a civil war on the horizon that many of us can see coming here in the divided states of embarrassment. Outgoing President Trump is not conceding the election he lost. Again, this is opinion. It's still going to the court. This is all comedy to me, and appears to be hampering President-elect Biden's transition to power. Trump this week fired the U.S. military's leader, Defense Secretary Mark Esper. Yes, all these decisions are making little Wall Street cronies and another group of persons concerned, I'm sure. The U.S. Treasury bond and note yields have risen to 8-month highs this week on the prospects for a solid U.S. economic recovery in the second half of 2021. You hear that? In the second half of 2021, everything's going to be okay. We're going to have a good, solid U.S. economic recovery, and somehow the trillions of dollars in the money printer will stop going burr. So that's something we should all look forward to this. Second half of 2021, just keep it going until then. We can do this. The yield on the benchmark 10-year U.S. Treasury note futures is currently trading at 0.90%. The U.S. dollar index is weaker early today. The other important outside market sees crude oil prices firmer and trading around $42 a barrel. Sorry to keep interjecting with personal stuff here, but the U.S. dollar index being weaker actually triggered this question. Any of you Canadian followers, you should definitely email Junius, because I'm in need of things from Canada. And it would be so cool if one of you guys could assist me with that. But anyway, take a gander here and peruse this chart, the 24-hour spot gold bid. I'll leave this up on the screen here for a moment for you all, or you can push pause and take a look at it. Pretty colors, pretty things going on. And of course, this is very self-explanatory for many of you. So you can see they've got November 10th, the close, November 11th, and today the last on here in the top right. And the USD on the left side there, followed by the time. Technically, December gold futures bulls have the overall near-term technical advantage and are working to stabilize the market. Recent price action has formed a bearish pennant or flag pattern. Bulls' next upside price objective is to produce a close in December futures above solid resistance at $1,900. Bears' next near-term downside price objective is pushing futures prices below solid technical support at this week's low of $1,848. First resistance is seen at Tuesday's high of $1,888.90 and then at $1,900. First support is seen at today's low of $1,860.70. And then at Wednesday's low of $1,853.90. And that's Wyckoff's market rating, 6.5. Moving on here, we've got another chart for you to take a look at. Feel free to pause the video and peruse and gander there. I'll leave that up for just a moment. And December silver futures bulls have the overall near-term technical advantage and are working to stabilize the market after Monday's strong losses. Silver bulls' next upside price objective is closing prices above solid technical resistance at this week's high of 26.135 an ounce. The next downside price objective for the bears is closing prices below solid support at the September low of 21.81. First resistance is seen at Tuesday's high of 24.58 and then at 25. Next support is seen at Wednesday's low of 23.81 and then at this week's low of 23.60. Wyckoff's market rating, 6.0. December New York copper closed up 185 points at 315.35 cents today. Prices closed near the higher, gosh, I need my inhaler. prices closed nearer the session high today. The copper bulls have the solid overall near-term technical advantage. Copper bull's next upside price objective is pushing and closing prices above solid technical resistance at the October high of 321.80 cents. The next downside price objective for the bears is closing prices below solid technical support at 290 cents. First resistance is seen at Wednesday's high of 317.55 cents and then at 321.80 cents. First support is seen at this week's low of 309.65 cents and then at 306 cents. Wyckoff's market rating, 7.5. Now, I would tell you how Bitcoin is doing, but if you follow the channel enough to hear me ranting on the sides, I'm not a big digital currency person like Junius is. I think it's World of Warcraft money. Unless, of course, I do actually have faith and believe in a company that he's looking into right now called Aurus. Definitely check out the videos for them, and there will be more to come on that. That is something that I can and will back, but all the Ripple and Bitcoin nonsense, that just isn't me, so I'm not going to touch it right now, and I think it's unfortunate that a lot of his friends and colleagues believe in that. But hey, I'm just the wife. What do I know? And the last article here, essentially this is saying the London Bullion Market Association is threatening to block gold from several countries if they do not guarantee its origin. So let's take a look at that. The world's leading authority on the gold market, the London Bullion Market Association, and by the way, guys, I don't have this article up on the screen because it's all in Spanish, so I'm just going to be reading this one. But anyway, the Lbma has warned several countries, including the United Arab Emirates, that it will block their metal sales to the international market if they do not guarantee compliance of regulatory standards. As published exclusively by the Reuters agency, the Lbma has sent a letter to several countries in which it threatens to block its gold sales in the international market if they do not guarantee compliance with international standards regarding the origin of the metal. The letter, dated November 6th, was addressed to the countries that have important gold markets, and in it describes the rules that they must comply with regarding the prevention of money laundering and the origin of the gold they sell, under penalty of being included in a, quote, blacklist that would prevent them from selling their metal on the international market. This is a milestone, since it is the first time that a market or state authority has threatened to block the sale of gold in a major financial center to prevent the production and sale of metal from illegal or irregular origin. Speaking to Reuters, Lbma CEO Ruth Crowell acknowledged her organization's performance and explained that, quote, our goal is to work together with all these key markets to advance global standards, not to separate them from them. However, we are obliged to act if we see that there are no significant and effective improvements. Although the letter was not addressed to any specific center, 4 people who have worked on the draft of the letter assured Reuters that the gold industry of Dubai was the main objective pursued by the Lbma. The letter was addressed to China, Hong Kong, India, Japan, Russia, Singapore, South Africa, Switzerland, Turkey, the United Arab Emirates, the United Kingdom, and the United States, all of which are considered important gold trading centers by the Organization of the London Market. As one of the sources revealed to Reuters, the initiative to target all these gold trading centers is due to the fact that serious problems have been detected in Dubai. If they are not corrected shortly, at the beginning of next year, the Lbma will prohibit refineries from accepting gold from Dubai. This is a very serious threat. Although the Lbma is not a state agency, it maintains significant control over the market, since the banks that dominate the gold trade only deal with refineries that have been accredited by this organization. The United Arab Emirates is one of the world's leading gold export centers, selling billions of dollars worth of gold each year to the world's leading Lbma accredited refineries. However, the Financial Action Task Force, an international institution that fights against money laundering, as well as various non-governmental organizations, have criticized its lack of controls. According to an investigation carried out by Reuters in 2019, Dubai had received a large quantity of gold, valued at billions of gold, from smuggled I translated this wrong. Let's read this again. Okay, according to an investigation carried out by Reuters in 2019, Dubai had received a large quantity of gold, valued at billions of gold, that was smuggled from Africa. Most of this gold had been mined in artisanal and small-scale mines, which often operate under extreme conditions. Once this gold of doubtful provenance reaches the UAE, it can be freely sold to the international market. Furthermore, cash transactions are a common practice in the United Arab Emirates, or UAE, which according to the FATF prevents the control of money laundering. In responses to questions from Reuters, the United Arab Emirates Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation assured that, quote, "We will investigate the issues that concern the London Bullion Market Association as soon as the letter is received. The Emirates recognize the importance of its gold market and the need to develop increasingly robust mechanisms to meet the challenges posed by international crime. The UAE has been forced to toughen its tax laws to change the perception of many foreign investors that they were a haven for illegal money. In 2018, they passed a law against money laundering and financial terrorism and are working together with the United States to sanction Islamist groups. According to its Ministry of Foreign Affairs, strengthening this legal framework is one of its national priorities." And the goal of the Lbma. The Lbma noted that the countries to which the letter was sent were chosen because they process large quantities of recycled gold, a huge risk in the face of money laundering prevention, as it is easy to hide the origin of the bullion and recycled gold jewelry. According to the Lbma itself, its strategic objectives are to ensure that recycled gold is responsibly sourced, to end cash transactions, and to support artisanal and small-scale mining. In the letter, the organization establishes a deadline of December 11th for recipients to express their support for the Lbma standards and to report at the end of January on the plans they have implemented. The letter warns that, quote, "The lack of cooperation or the reluctance to publicly commit to these standards and share its proposed reform calendar with the Lbma will mean that the Lbma will not allow the refineries included in the gold delivery list to process material that has its origin or has passed through the International Gold Trade Center." On previous occasions, various governments in the United Nations have imposed sanctions on countries such as Venezuela, or on individuals and companies of nations such as the Democratic Republic of the Congo, where gold has been used as a source of financing for armed conflicts. Currently, the UAE has a total of 10 refineries, none of which are accredited by the Lbma, and most of which do not certify the origin of the gold they process. The problem is that, according to the Lbma figures, its reputable refineries, especially in Switzerland, imported 212 tons of gold from the Persian Gulf state in 2018, the latest year for which data is available, an amount that, at the current price, would be valued at more than $13 million. Now, the numbers are a little wonky here. Let me take a look. Yeah, $13 million. All right, well, that wraps it up for today. This was a little shorter. Of course, leave your opinions, your comments, your questions, your concerns in the YouTube comments, and many times Junius does go through and address some of them there. So again, he'll be in tomorrow to bring you some more videos and some more articles that we have. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, and have a wonderful day from myself and the Cat.